everybody, how you doing? Woo! What a win for our Philadelphia Flyers in Long Island tonight. Oh my goodness, what a great game. You know, I came in to pregame earlier and complained that we're going to be seeing the Islanders 3 times in 2 weeks. No, give me 3 more like that. I can't wait. First in-studio use of the belt after a win. Let's get another woo! Of course, PHLY Flyers Postgame is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. My name's Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games. That's the #1 Philly hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Hell yes, what a great win for our Philadelphia Flyers tonight.
You did a really good job switching from pure fan mode to professional mode.
Well, you know,
you flipped the switch very well,
people, the skeptical type of downer kind of fan is going, oh, the Islanders stink. Yes, absolutely. Certainly. That played a big part of tonight's win. But you know what? They never beat Ilya Sorokin. They did tonight. And they never play a good second period. They did tonight. I am very happy with the result. It's just a good, resilient game for the Philadelphia Flyers, and it was entertaining as hell. I don't know what else to say about it. Recovering from the Poehling hit to put up that big second period, not completely folding up in the third to preserve the lead. Couldn't be happier with our Philadelphia Flyers tonight, Charlie. So where do you want to start? I want to start with the...
do you want to start with the response to the hit, or do you want to start with the hit?
I want to start with the second period.
Okay.
The second period, I just was so happy with the response that the team put out. I joked with you. You know, we've said for years, like Mike Sullivan came into the Penguins and was like, you know how you chase the Flyers around for doing dirty stuff and then they win 6-5? Stop doing that. Just hold the puck the whole time.
Just be better than them.
And the Flyers... understandably, let their emotions probably get the better of them in the first period.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Take a penalty. It results in a 10% power play that it hadn't scored in 14 games, taking a 1-0 lead. And then you're just wondering, how the hell are they going to come out and respond? They have the intermission, and Garnett Hathaway talked about it after the second period. Like, we got our emotions in check, and we just talked about how can we execute to win this game. And that's what they did. Lots of pressure. It starts... Farabee driving the net, gets taken down, almost scores a goal for himself, but a little later sets up Coots to tie the game at 1. TK leads a 2-on-1 rush to set up Hathaway for a shorty. TK Frost tippet line, nice little tic-tac-toe passing play. All of a sudden, it's 3-1 after 2. And Flyers are, third period got a little hairy, but Flyers are off to the races. I was elated with what we saw in the second, just seeing how this team got itself together. And I mentioned the Penguins because obviously Sean Couturier, a better captain than Sidney Crosby. Like, that's clear tonight. We saw it.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned Sean Couturier because
that part will get clipped.
He had a strong game. He did.
Yeah.
He gets the first goal for the Flyers in this game. Picks up another assist, I believe, later on. But I did think that, like, Sean Couturier has the C. He is the captain. He is respected by everyone in that room. He has been with the team for over a decade, been with the organization his entire career. I get why he has the C. This game showed you why Travis Konecny is wearing an A, and why you could argue that, it's almost like they have 3 captains. They have Couturier, they have Lawton, and they have Konecny, because Konecny put the team on his back in the second period. And look, the hit that he took at the end of the first, that's not a dirty hit. We can talk about the Poehling hit, but the hit on Konecny, that's just 2 guys battling for a puck, and he slides into the boards in a violent way, but that was not dirty. That said, he's clearly battling, maybe not an injury, but he's hurting.
We've been talking about this for weeks.
He's coming out of the first intermission battling a bum shoulder, probably. At the very least, it's bruised up pretty good. He hit that boards hard. He comes out, and Travis Konecny, we all know, is a very emotional player. He takes that hit, so he's angry about that. He's obviously livid, like they all are, about the Poehling hit. It would have been very easy for him, the best player on the team, to set the example of, we're going to run around like crazy and just try to kill these guys because we're ticked off. The refs aren't on our side. We're just going to completely lose our cool. What does Konecny do instead? Instead, not only does he keep his cool, he translates it in a way where you could tell he was angry, but that anger was being used to just do a bunch of really, really cool things with and without the puck, rather than beating up on guys, which I'm sure he wanted to do on a lot of levels. Instead, he was by far the best player on the ice in that second period. And I just got the sense that the entire team was following his lead, that was the approach, and those were the efforts of a team leader. And it's really cool that Konecny has developed into that because, 3, 4, 5 years ago, he was just the lunatic who ran around like with his hair on fire, doing whatever he wanted to do. And I'm sure a part of him wanted to do that because he's buds with Ryan Poehling like everybody else on the team is. But instead, he took a step back, took a deep breath, and probably thought to himself, wouldn't it be even better if we just run these guys out of the building the rest of the way? And that's what he did.
He absolutely took over that second period. And that was like my second bullet point, just how badass is number 11.
Yeah.
He came back in that first period, and then the second starts, and JJ's like, oh, TK's not on the bench. And then he comes up the hallway like a second later, like, I guess he's fine.
Felt like something out of wrestling.
Yeah,
right?
like, no, hey, by God, that's TK's music.
It's like the Undertaker taking the blanket off.
Up. Yeah, like it was really cool. And like that, it wasn't even like he just kind of going into the boards for a battle and just kind of get shrugged off. And the velocity with which he hit the boards in that first period, like he was a 1/10 of a second from tucking his head. And it was a disaster.
Yeah.
There's a world in which he gets wheeled out of that game.
Yeah.
And instead, it was like, oh, he might have messed up his shoulder. Maybe he ain't going to come back, separate his shoulder or something. No, he comes back in the first. And then the second, he was a man possessed.
And it wasn't even like he's a small guy. Now, we know Konecny plays a chippy game, but it would have been very easy for him to be like, yeah, my shoulder's hurting me. Maybe I'll just play a little bit more around the perimeter in this game. Nah, he looked like he was 6'3", 6'4". He was battling along the boards, knocking guys off the puck. He was playing more physical than he usually does after taking that hit along the board.
Just willing pucks out of the zone on breakouts, and that's how he starts the 2-on-1 shorthanded to set up Hathaway. Hell of a pass. And Hathaway, he was like, TK's just going to put it in the right spot, and I leaned into it, and he absolutely did. His best play of the game might have been the setup to Forster that Forster just couldn't quite
an incredible
corral.
Pass.
Like, that was outstanding. TK was everywhere tonight, and it really speaks, I think, to the – listen, we can talk about, like, the coaching and how bad the power play is, and that's – certainly. But I think the response in the second goes a long way to show how well coached this team is and what kind of a grasp the leaders have on the locker room. And you kind of have the all three personalities. Like, TK is insane, and you just follow his intensity. He's like the emotional leader of this team. Coots is just, I do everything right. Just do what I do. Yeah. And Scott Lawton is everybody's best friend. Yeah. Like, you have the three.
He's the room guy.
Yeah, he's the in-the-room dude.
Yeah.
And you have all three of those leaders, and there's plenty of other guys as well. But I think it really spoke to how they, listen, I, as much as anyone, wanted to see the Flyers come out and break a stick over someone. 100%. Also, I'm an irrational moron. They would have been justified in doing it. And we can talk about the hit now. But I really respect the way that they said, let's beat them on the scoreboard. Yeah. And they did. Third period could have been better. Sure. Islanders were going to respond. Neither of these teams are like, oh, one's so much better than the other. Like, I bet the Flyers to win, but it was like, yeah, I think these teams are equally bad, and the Flyers are underdogs, so I'm betting on them, And they came out, and they showed you why I think they are just kind of a superior team against the Isles. Isles having a rough season, but let's talk about the actual hit on Ryan Poehling. I think we both kind of had a similar take on it. Now, fans, especially of the online variety, are going to be... They responded in a furious nature. Yeah. And when you see that in real time, honestly, if it's clean or not, you're like, I don't care. Our player probably, like Ryan Poehling, probably concussed on that play.
Yeah.
There are elements of that hit I didn't like, but ultimately, I think the actual head contact on the hit, if there even really was any, I think there was, but it's more of the ride-up variety than direct, like, he didn't lead with his elbow. It did look like his arm came up, but it was like kind of the follow through. I don't like that he had the whole way to stay low. Yeah. He came from a far way away at a very high speed, and Poehling, he's in a position where he has the puck in the middle of the ice in front of the other team's net. He should know he's gonna get some sort of contact, but he has no way to protect himself. Yeah. It is high. Like, he could have just come in and leveled him just as hard with a totally 100% clean hit. But maybe it's a penalty. I don't think this is he's getting 2 games for this. Like, I think it's just an unfortunate outcome to in a violent game.
I think I'm a little bit more opposed to it than you are. I think there's a decent chance this doesn't get further discipline based on the NHL rules, because I do believe, based on the views I saw at least, it looks like the principal point of contact, like the initial point of contact where the big part of the first hit comes from, is shoulder to shoulder. I have to believe there was head contact, even though I can't quite see it, just because of the way his head jerked back.
Head snaps
but you'd
back.
have to assume there was contact on the follow through. My big problem with the hit, because I'm not necessarily expecting a significant amount of discipline, if any discipline at all. My big problem with the hit is that I do think, and I kind of echo what Al Morganti said in intermission, it was a predatory hit. That's a hit that you make knowing that there is a good chance you're going to hurt the
That's going to have a bad outcome.
That it's going to have a bad outcome. And as you said, he doesn't have to ride up. He can separate him from the puck and do just like a just run through him kind of hit rather than go high. He goes high with the hit. You are putting the other player in position to get seriously hurt. And is it illegal in the rule book sense? It might not be. And maybe it is. Maybe you can go back and you can slow the tape down enough and they're going to look at it again later and they're going to find evidence that it's worthy of a suspension. And sure, if that's the case, I'm all for it. But my thing is that regardless of whether it was legal or not, it was a dirty hit.
The intent behind it is
a hit
bad.
Can be legal but dirty. Like that's the way I described the hit that Matthew Olivier put on Emile Andre. I don't think that is a terribly illegal hit. I don't think it's a flagrantly illegal hit that he puts on Andre, but I think it's a hit where he knows exactly what he's doing. He's trying to hurt a young 5'9" defenseman who put himself in a vulnerable position, and he's going to go and he's going to make him pay for that. And the Flyers had every right to be really, really angry at that one. This one, they had every right to be really, really angry at that one, even if, by the millisecond and by the angle, it wasn't quite as illegal as it might have seemed. That is a nasty hit, and that is a hit that the Flyers, I think, were completely justified in being really ticked off about.
Well, Siplikov's a convicted felon, isn't he, Charlie? He should be.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was rough, and we'll see what happens. I do want to talk for a second because we saw the Flyers play one guy down, and I think that, listen, TK is just a badass. He was probably coming back either way, but them already being a dude down probably is like, I ain't coming out. I don't care if you tell me my arm's broke. Like, we saw the lines kind of get juggled. And honestly, I think it was a good learning experience. Like you mentioned, with a few minutes left, Flyers are up 2. It's not like it's a 1-goal game or anything, but it's near the end of the game. And Michkov is still getting shifts. Yeah. And they're a man down. Like, that's a good opportunity for him to get out there and be in those situations where he wouldn't normally be. Now, the easiest thing, as we talked about pregame, well, they're keeping Lycksell up. It looks like they only have, now they only have with Lycksell 12 healthy forwards. Simplest thing, Lawton goes to center,
right,
and Lycksell comes in. That's depending on how long-term this is. Like, if this is just he's going to be out a game sort of thing, I can see them doing that. But there are options in the AHL. And I wanted to highlight Maddie's article. Maddie Campbell wrote one of her Phantoms reports just a couple of days ago. We posted it up on allphly.com. It's for diehards only. You probably want to check that out. And Jacob Gaucher has been pretty damn good for them. I mean, they signed him to that ELC after being on a AHL contract. Yeah. But in December, he had 12 games. He had 10 points. He's a center, and he's been good between a bunch of different line mates, it sounds like.
They clearly liked him enough to give him the ELC.
They liked him enough to give him the ELC. I wonder if he is an option, if Poehling's going to miss a 5+ games, something like that.
I guess it really comes down to what they think about Lawton. Because you're right. The easiest way to do this, because we already talked about it during pregame, about how it sounded like, based on what Torts said today before the game, that they do want to give Lycksell, even if he's not playing, they want to give him a longer look in the NHL. And we said, well, if Farabee stays in the lineup, maybe an injury happens, maybe somebody else struggles. Well, an injury might have happened. So the easiest thing for them to do would be, all right, this is Lycksell's chance. Move Lawton, who we know can play center, back over to the middle and put Lycksell in and just roll with it. if they think that Lawton needs to stay on the wing for, his own effectiveness, just because they just don't like how the lines shape up with Lawton in the middle, then maybe they do think about a call-up. But I have to believe that the first thing they're going to try is just bringing Lycksell back in, just because it's too easy. And it does seem like in the moment, they want to give Lycksell a longer NHL look. And this is an opportunity to do it without having to bench a guy like Farabee, who we'll get to in a few minutes, I'm sure, had a really strong return to the lineup game. So he ain't coming out anytime soon.
No, and that plays in as well. Like Farabee is the guy who just sat. You don't want to take him out after the game he just played. And then you get into the okay, well, who else? Like, no one really deserves it. There's not someone who's been bad for them or someone who's really been dragging them down, especially at forward for a few games now. And listen, before we go any further, got to tell you about Glatt hair restoration.
Heyo.
I had somewhere else to go with that. But just get to it. I've been telling you about Glatt hair restoration for months now. If you've been listening to John Marks, he's been telling you about it for years before he even got to PHLY. Well, Glatt hair restoration is now under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon, Dr. Ken Morgenstern. And listen, I've been listening to Marks. Now it's something different. You get the same peerless approach to care, the same expert team, same unmatched Glatt system, same state-of-the-art location, and the same stellar results, all now under another highly respected plastic surgeon in Dr. Morgenstern. And each member of this exceptionally trained team brings 30-plus years of industry experience. Hair restoration is all they do, from laser light therapy, non-invasive TED treatments, vitamin supplementation, medications, PRP and stem cell restoration, and hair restoration surgery. With Dr. Glatt and Glatt Hair, bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glatt Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit glatthairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started today. Speaking of today, after today's game, maybe you want to reward the Flyers by going and seeing them live. Well, the best way to do it, it's with Game Time, baby. And with Game Time picks, they filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. And you know about all the outstanding other features that you get with the Game Time app, the all-in pricing, the seat views, the low price guarantee, and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Find out why Game Time is the absolute best secondary ticket marketplace, and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
So here's something I want to bring up, because we were still on the subject of call-ups, because it seems like the commenters have a preference, and they want more Tony Dick.
I love Anthony Richard. I'm all for Tony Dick getting in there. I just think if you're going to make a call up rather than put Lycksell in, it's going to be a natural center.
I guess the justification, aside from the fact that people just like Anthony Richard,
he was really good.
The justification, I suspect, would be you lose Poehling, who is one of your fastest players.
That's fair.
Tony Dick is a very, very good straight line skater that maybe he can replace some of that you would lose if Poehling is out for an extended period of time. The reason why I would go Lycksell in particular over Anthony Richard is another commenter said, well, we know what Lycksell is. Honestly, I don't.
He's got like 30 games in the NHL.
And it's never been a super extended period of time. I'd like to see him, if this is the way it shakes out, get him 3 weeks in a row where he's playing pretty much every game. And you know what? If he doesn't show anything in that period of time, then fine.
Then he's Ronnie Attard.
Then Then at least you have a pretty good idea. But the time he's gotten in the NHL thus far, it's been 1 game here, 2 games here, then he's scratched, then a couple games here. It's never been that long look. And this could, it's never a good thing when a guy gets hurt. No. And hopefully Ryan Poehling doesn't even miss a game.
Yeah, maybe it was
Saturday. Precautionary. Yeah. Who knows? But it didn't look like it's precautionary. It looked like he was concussed pretty good.
He should take a couple of days off.
And, not a good thing by any means. But if this gives you an opportunity to get a look at Lycksell, I know what Anthony Richard is. I know he's a fun player to watch because he's fast and he was impressive in those games, but it's not like he's going to make himself part of the long-term solution here. I can't see that as a possibility, whereas maybe Lycksell turns some heads.
But that does make sense. Ryan Poehling with that speed, and some would say, Anthony Richard, he's got a rocket up his ass. I'm really going for it tonight.
Oh, my God.
those are their options. I think as long as this isn't a long-term injury for Poehling, though, it's just going to be Lawton to center, Licksell comes in.
You would think, right?
That makes the most sense. And honestly, I very much doubt it's going to happen. But a lot of teams looking for centers. Lawton hasn't really played center this year. You wouldn't know that listening to any of the national shows. Scott Lawton, center.
Oh, he's a center. Yeah, of course.
Sure, yeah, he has been. But
he can play center.
You showcase him at center a little bit. I'm just saying. All right, let's talk about Joel Farabee because he was one of the big stories tonight. Scratched for 3 games to get Licksell in. And honestly, it wasn't just, let's get a look at Licksell. Like, Joel Farabee's play dipped tremendously. We've been talking about it for weeks. Put him up on that top line. Couldn't really get him going, so let's get him up there, see if he can cash in. Creates a bunch of chances, and then suddenly still can't quite break out with a goal. And all of a sudden, he's on the 4th line. Give him a few more opportunities. Now he's in the press box. Last-ditch effort to try to figure something out with Farabee. He comes back tonight. And I was very impressed with the way he played. Gets called for that slash after the Poehling. The whole team kind of just was out of it. And like, my biggest problem with that slash is if you're gonna do it. Like, cross-check him in the teeth. Like, either it's worth a misconduct or it's not. Just don't give him a weak slash.
I think he was trying to get him to fight.
Yes, he was.
And the guy wouldn't fight.
Yes. But anyway, outside of that, that's just a little side note about Farabee's game. I thought he attacked the net all night. Yeah. He had that one chance where he drove in and got taken down, almost scored a goal, and then on a very similar play, drives the net and ultimately gets the puck over to Coots in the crease for Coots' goal. Really impressive play, I thought. This team, the Islanders are pretty good on faceoffs. JJ said during the broadcast that they're the #1 team in the league in faceoffs. Flyers did pretty well on the dot tonight.
Flyers are a pretty good faceoff team too,
offensive zone faceoffs have been kind of an issue for this team at times. Coots battles. Nice play. Yeah. Farabee comes in, digs the puck out, skates it to the middle, gets it over to Cam York, and that's the goal that really stems the tide. Because after that great second period, Islanders came out, scored right away. It's 3-2. It's a game. And it's a game that momentum is going the other way. And Cam York kind of made the play to get the puck to Cam York. Farabee made the play to get the puck to Cam York to kind of put this thing away. So that was a really, really nice play. I was impressed with what he did all night, despite being stopped on a breakaway in the third. He's still Joel Farabee for some reason. Dude who scored on the Rush his whole career just can't this year. It's weird.
It is weird.
It's so free. Like, it's Sorokin, so you just kind of go, yeah, man, he's awesome. But it continues a trend for Joel Farabee, where even when he plays well, it's like, how? It's a breakaway. But other than that, like, I can't nitpick his game because I thought he was one of the better players on the ice for the Flyers tonight.
Yeah, I said before the game that I thought we were going to learn something about Joel Farabee in this game, about how he can respond to something that he hasn't dealt with before. He hasn't dealt with being scratched in the John Tortorella era. And being scratched for a few games, not just the one reset. He got a couple games, got 3 games. I thought he showed exactly what I wanted him to show. Not just, I think I expected he was going to come out hard. Like, he was going to be hard on pucks. He was going to be physical. He was going to have a lot of effort, because that is part and parcel of who he is. That's who he was dating back to his draft year. It's one of the reasons why I liked him as much as I did.
He's a guy who can score and also plays with, like, not the most physical intensity, but he's engaged.
Yeah, great. He was a really good forechecker at the USNDDP. You know, just a kind of guy where he brings energy. So I was expecting him to bring energy. I was expecting him to be motivated, and he was. That was obvious. But what I really liked is that he showed the skill too. You know, the 2 goals he sets up, both are on really good passes. I especially like the Couturier setup because, look, that's a face-off play, the one that he gets over to York. It's a nice enough pass, but that's more, you know, good face-off play, set play. He's supposed to be coming across, then he gets the puck over to York. He recognizes that he's pinching down. Good play, but nothing incredible. I thought the pass that he made to Couturier was fantastic. That's in traffic. That's sending it to a dangerous area. Those passes are not easy to make, especially at speed, and he was coming into the zone with speed after an underrated entry pass by Michkov to set him up. I'm not doubting that Joel Farabee cares. I've never doubted that. He very obviously cares, you know, in terms of effort. He was dropping the gloves to try to spark something in the first period. What I don't want him turning into is a bottom sixer, because I think he has too much talent to just be an energy bottom sixer. I think it's a waste of his skill. And tonight, you saw him play with that energy, but also show the skill. And that's what I like more than anything about his game.
That's like the thing I like most about the assist to Cam York is him getting in there and getting that puck and then being decisive with it. What I loved about the Couturier setup is just before that, he had gone in on that chance. He gets behind the defenseman, gets a little bit of leverage, doesn't score, but creates a chance. And he's coming in and doesn't have quite that angle this time, sees Coots in the crease, but drives in as close as he can get. And a couple of games ago, after that awesome goal that Noah Cates scored, the great breakaway goal, Tortorella said, that's a confident guy. Last year, he goes backhand, and that goes right off the goalie's pad.
Yeah.
To me, that was, if Farabee isn't really feeling it, if he's not really engaged in that game, he tries to drive that puck. He tries to just drive it through Sorokin. Instead, he has his head up and makes the smart play and gets it to Couturier, who finishes it off. Like, high marks for Farabee. He has a long way to go to win me back. But this is like the difference between the Frost conversation and him, like I said in pregame. I can't imagine a world where Frost goes elsewhere and like really breaks out and makes me feel like an idiot. I can see Farabee doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I can see him. Like,
You see his skill.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, and Morgan Frost, pretty good game tonight as well. But I was
fine.
very, very happy with Joel Farabee. That was a strong game. Sam Ersson wasn't tested a ton, especially in the first 40 minutes. The Barzal goal that makes it 3-2. He
wasn't great.
That was
It was a need to have it saved that they didn't get.
That was, listen, the turnover and everything, like, can't have that. That's bad too. But that was a Kolosov, Fedotov. Why are you showing him that much net?
Yeah.
Like, you're just showing too much, especially like if he's cheating the other way, expecting the pass, I can almost forgive it a little more. But to just get beat on the far side when you're looking directly at him, that was a rough one. But he did come back and made some huge saves, two big shorthanded saves, around 16 minutes left in the third to preserve it. Comes up with some saves late. What'd you think of Ersson tonight?
I didn't like that Barzal goal. That kind of puts a damper on the whole thing, just because that gets the Islanders back into the game. You just had that incredible second period where you really took it to them. You completely stole the momentum. You know they got a talking to in the second intermission, because they just let the game completely slip out from under them. And Patrick Roy is not the kind of guy who's going to mince words. He's going to tell them exactly how he's feeling. Can't imagine any of that was positive. So they're going to come out with a fire lit under their you-know-whats. And you need that save. It's a minute, 30 seconds into the period, you get that stop, maybe you stem the tide. And then suddenly the rest of the third period is a relatively easy period. Instead, it's a tough period because you allow that goal. That said, overall, I don't think he was terrible. You know, you look at his overall metrics for the game, 27 saves on 30 shots, 900 save percentage. What's the league average save percentage in the NHL this year? Like 901. I've been saying, since the Flyers have gotten their 5-on-5 game going, it's not even that they need great goaltending. They just need passable, competent goaltending. And I will say that Ersson overall, looking at the game in its entirety, gave them competent, passable goaltending. Yeah. It's just hard for me to forget that goal to Barzal because the timing was so bad. That's the kind of timing save you need from your goalie, that timely stop that they all talk about. He needed to make a better play on that puck. Instead, he cheats over and gives a really talented player a wide open far side to shoot at. He's going to make that shot. He's too good. And that was a positioning goal more than anything else. Yes. That was a mistake on positioning that a really good player takes advantage of. I'm not hating on Ersson's game because, again, overall competency is what they got from him. If he makes that save, though, then suddenly we're talking about a legitimately good game from him.
And that's a hell of, like, it's a really well-placed shot. Don't get me wrong. Like, he tucks it right inside that far post. It's Barzal. Like, we all know how freaking good he is.
Yeah. But
it's those leaky, untimely goals that are just like, that goal was scored before the puck was ever released.
Yep.
Because of what he was showing him. And it's a bummer. But, yeah, 26 out of 29 for an .897. for this team, the way they've been playing.
They changed it to 20. I'm looking at Yahoo, and they're saying 27 out of 30. It could be 26 out of 29.
26 out of 29 is what's on NHL now.
Okay,
but,
they must have took a shot away.
Like if you watched NHL box scores last night trying to figure out what was going on with the Tage Thompson or a McLeod goal, it got switched like 4 times. They have no freaking clue half the time. But it was like, that was a rough one. But other than that, I mean, Horvat on the power play, Anders Lee in front, like it hits him in the ass and just somehow bounces in. This like Boosh is like, that's going 2 feet wide.
That's one thing about the New York Islanders, and one thing that has always infuriated me about them. They are so freaking lucky, man.
Anders Lee has 20 goals.
They get so many good bounces. It's wild.
Hey, listen, you create your own bounces. I get it. But overall, I'll take that out of Ersson. It's one bad goal. Now, we've been saying for a lot of this year, like, that's been a huge problem. Yes, there have been games where they just give up 7 and the goalie have been non-competitive. But in the games where you're at least competent, like one more save has cost them a lot. Maybe, Ersson's been decent enough lately. Maybe this is, as long as he can stay healthy, something to get going. Do you think this was good enough? Because you said in pregame, depending on how he plays is how I think they'll make the decision for Saturday. Is it Ersson versus the Devils?
It's in that borderline.
I know you don't know.
I think this is where we're going to see what their plans are, because he wasn't bad, but he wasn't so good that you feel like you have to throw him back out there. If they are focused on getting Fedotov games and maybe making sure that they're not overworking Ersson during a busy slate, maybe they do go Fedotov. I think it's about, I would say 60-40 Ersson, just because they are leaning on him as their clear-cut number one. But I think there's a solid chance they go with Fedotov, because I don't think Ersson was so good that he's demanding that he has to start the next game.
Yeah, I think that's the way to put it. Now we'll learn. Like, this was fine. You were fine. You didn't win them the game, but they didn't lose because of goaltending, and that's been a huge problem for this team all year. So I think we'll learn more what their plans are, like you said, based on the decision they make. Before we go to the break, I just want to talk about Morgan Frost. Listen, I give the guy a lot of crap. I just in complimenting Joel Farabee, like, he caught some strays.
Yeah, you're basically John Tortorella.
Yeah, listen. I like Tortorella in no small part because I think our personalities are somewhat similar. I do want to point out, though, 5-game point streak, goal in 4 of the last 5. It snowed today. That was absolutely ridiculous of me not to realize that the snow was going to equal a Morgan Frost goal, Charlie. But this is, I know we've been over this a million times. It's not just the goal. The goal was that's all well and good, but he makes some nice plays. He has some nice dangles in this one. He was fine. Got kicked out of a couple more offensive zone faceoffs. Like, I don't know how he keeps doing this, but he does. Does it give you any pause? Or is it like, yeah, man, it's Frost season. Of course. Yeah. He's going to be good for the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at it as. He does this every year. And if he has a strong finish to the year, that's good for the Flyers, because they could use another quality center who's scoring points.
It helps.
It definitely helps. Is it going to change my opinion of him that he is an inconsistent player that just does not play at a high enough level for 82 games to the point where you can truly count on him as a top half of the lineup player? No, it's not going to change my opinion, because we have 3 years of evidence that this is what he does.
This is exactly what we expected out of him.
I'm not a Frost hater. No. I think he's a quality middle 6 center. But there's essentially nothing he could do in the second half of the season to convince me that he's more than a middle 6 center, because he does this every year.
He does. I will say, though, I like where he is in the lineup right now. Again, this is not long term,
and they bounce the lines around like crazy because of the Poehling injury.
Tonight, there's a lot of flip flopping, but they did get back to original line. Like, I'd say half the shifts were like most of the original lines, and then the other half were like, we just got to figure something out here. And then, like, end of the game, it's, yeah, man, we got to get half the way out there, because if anything pops off, he really wants to break someone's leg, so we got to let him do that.
Fair.
Where he is right now, as long as, say Lixell comes in and slides into the 4th line or something, I am liking him with Tippett and TK.
Okay.
We already know the Cates line is what it is. They really don't want to break that up. Do you think this is kind of the best setup for the top 9 right now? Because I like what I saw out of Coots, Farabee, and Mish tonight.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. It's all going to depend upon what their decision is to replace Poehling. If Poehling misses time, we're assuming he's going to miss time. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe this was precautionary. I'm not ready to just say, well, he's gone for a month. If he has to be because that's what's best for his brain health, then sure. But I'm not ready to just write him off as well, he's gone for a while. Hopefully he's not. But it'll depend upon who they call up. Like if they just bring Lycksell in and that's it. I don't know how you do it because you have to find someone to put on that fourth line. And I don't know if I want Lycksell just sliding right into that fourth line. I don't know if that's the best way to see what you have in him.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Coots is the 4C. Lawton with Farabee and Michkov. That's how it's going to go. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they figure this thing out. Before we go any further, though, I got to talk to you about TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Did you put all that holiday shopping on a credit card and now you're left with a balance that's weighing you down? Well, think about this. What if you could pay it off faster and with zero interest until 2026? Well, you can because TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months, so all your payments can go towards reducing your balance, not just covering interest. Now, here's the play. Transfer your existing balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But hurry up, because you have to apply by February 28th, 2025, the end of next month, to be eligible. Whether you're interested in earning rewards, cash back, or simply just prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, TrueMark Financial can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. Visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. And while we're here, listen, you got to get your finances taken care of, and then you got to get your body taken care of, and there's no better place to do that than at Rothman Orthopedics, because everyone has a specialty they love. For some, it's running and gardening. Those aren't mine. But for others, it's beating a goalie with a dirty dangle or maybe dropping those gloves. Well, Rothman Orthopedics, their physicians are not only specialized in orthopedics and clinical research, but they are fellowship trained to treat specific areas of the body. Since 1970, their physicians have remained committed to research, innovation, and minimally invasive procedures to get you back to what you specialize in. They're Rothman Orthopedics, and they specialize in you. Rothman Orthopedics, specializing in you and orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today. I do want to talk about Noah Cates.
You do?
A big
what I want to talk about, Bill?
Okay.
You're talking about making appointments? People should be making appointments to do? Hitting that like button.
Oh, you gotta hit
that like button.
You dynamite drop in, Charlie. That broadcast school's really paying off for you. I've been sitting on that one all night.
Have you?
Great setup.
Let's get that over 100.
Let's do it. Get us to 200, damn it. Create a whole new account and start over. Let's game the system. Jesus, what are we doing, boys? Noah Cates. He gets the empty net goal, and really I thought that was a reward for a game well played. Not the biggest night in the box score before the empty net goal. 3 shots, 1 block, 1 hit. I'd really like to see those block and hit numbers audited. I don't think it was 1 apiece. He had 3 blocks as far as I can remember. But he is, we talk about the roles guys are going to be in. This is one of those reasons where it's Morgan Frost could put up 100 points in the second half. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't see where he fits in this long term. It's because Noah Cates gives you so much of that little stuff. And now suddenly, yeah, man, he's not just being a third line center. 9 goals, 15 points in his last 18 games. He's got 3 games in there without a point. He's just been everywhere. He was everywhere on the ice tonight, and I was glad to see him get that empty netter. TK also gets that 3rd assist, so that was cool. But I am over the moon with Noah Cates. He's one of my favorite players on the team all of a sudden.
I am always a big fan of the cosmic reward empty net goal, where you have a guy who has been playing well the whole game, doing all the little things, making plays, hasn't gotten on the scoreboard, and then he's the guy who gets the empty netter. It just makes me... We've had this conversation multiple times. I am very nihilistic in the sense that I believe there is no justice in the world. But my thing is that I really, really wish there was. So I get very happy when it does seem like something fair actually happened, because it happens so rarely in everything. And that's why I love it when a player who has had a good game and has been rewarded gets the empty net goal reward. And I thought that was exactly what happened tonight with Noah Cates. I thought he was strong all game. And you have that like satisfied smile when you see a guy like that get the empty netter. Because it's like, yeah, you know what? He did deserve a goal for this game, and he got it.
And I'm just continually impressed with the way he has responded to. Now, listen, some of it is self-inflicted adversity. He could have just played better last year. Absolutely. But we all know how it's like he has that injury, early December, I think, and it kind of just really puts a stop to his season. And John Tortorella even says, like, he just really had trouble getting going after that. He kind of had to start all over. And then he's relegated to the fourth line. He's out there with Delorier a lot. No disrespect to Delorier, but a guy who had 30-some points the year before, it's going to be tough to replicate playing with a dude who doesn't score all that often. This year starts the season, and Torts even mentioned this the other day. Wasn't playing. Yeah. He was the scratch for Jet Luchenko.
Sure was.
And now he's just gotten a little bit of confidence, and he's gotten a little bit of a leash, and he's better than that dude we saw put up, 38 points his rookie year, I think, when it was, he's out there because John Tortorella doesn't think Kevin Hayes is a center, so that means we don't have a 1C. Yeah. Sean Couturier isn't even like pretending to be the 1C. He's out hurt.
Yeah, he was on Ellis Island.
He's out on Ellis Island. They have nobody. And he kind of stepped up, and thanks for stepping up. But it was, he can't replicate this. This isn't really who he is. And now he's been even better. I am really, really excited for him. And I'm excited that, listen, yes, they need a 1C more than anything. Maybe it's Jet Luchenko. To me, he looks like, hopefully, a great 2C. They need, like, 3 centers. It looks like Noah Cates is one of them. Like, his contract, there's a lot of RFAs and contracts that are coming up this summer that I'm like, I don't know. Like, you're more sold on Cam York than I am. Tyson Forster, I think we talked last show. I think you take the Joel Farabee risk and go, let's see. Let's sign him up for his prime and cross our fingers. Morgan Frost, I really hope we don't. Enough on Morgan. But Noah Cates, I'm like, do it. Obviously, I don't want it to be huge money. It doesn't need to be 8 years. Sure. Like, we're looking at a guy who, at best, is going to be a 2C, But I am very, very much looking forward to seeing him get signed up for 4 or 5 years, because he's been integral. And the longer this thing goes, you can't call it a hot streak when it goes for like months.
With Noah Cates, I don't think you or anyone should get hung up on where's he going to play? Who gives a shit? And the reason why I say that is because he can play anywhere. Like, he's showing this year he can be a darn good NHL center, okay? He's also shown in the past he can be a solid winger too. And it's different skill sets that allow him to succeed in both those roles. One of the reasons why I long thought he was a winger at the NHL level is because one thing he's really good at, and you saw it a few games ago when he set that goal up for TK, he's really good as the first man in on the forecheck, the F1, you call it in hockey terms. He's really good at that. And you get to do a lot more of that at wing versus center.
You're not as deep in the D zone.
Yeah, because the center has further to go because he's usually further down low in the D zone. So when you're going in on the rush, the winger is usually higher. They're more likely to be the first guy in on the forecheck. So if you play him at wing, you have that advantage. He's really good as the F1, even though he's not quick. He just has a good stick. He has great instincts. He anticipates plays well. So you have that. And if you want to play him at center, he's showing right now he can do that pretty well too. So compare that to like a Morgan Frost, where I say one of the reasons why I think he probably doesn't fit long-term is because he's not good enough to be a 1C. Luchenko's here. Couturier probably isn't going anywhere because he's under contract with a no-movement clause, and he's way overpaid. So where is Frost going to play? He's not a 4C. They don't think he's a wing. So where does he fit long-term? I don't know. I don't worry about that with Cates because it's like, okay, yeah, he's a center. That's probably the most valuable spot he can be in, and I like him there right now. But if it gets to the point where, Luchenko is real good and you can't trade Couturier and we trade it for a high-end 1C, all right, whatever. He can just be a real good middle six winger. That works too. So I don't worry too much about his fit because he's versatile enough where he'll find a way to fit.
Some would say too high? Who gives a shit? It's gone. We're really making
R.I.P.
We're really making Bryn have to edit the fast channel version of this show, but it's worth it for Harry Doyle.
Indeed.
We have like 11 super chats apparently.
Okay,
So
should we get through those now?
Let's hit
three stars. Or
let's hit three stars because there's a bunch of candidates tonight, so I'm interested to see where you go. Charlie O'Connor, who are your 3 stars of the game? Starting with star number 3.
Yeah, these should be pretty quick just because we've talked about all of them.
Yeah.
Third star of the game for me is Noah Cates. Again, he gets rewarded with the empty netter at the end of the game, but I felt like he had a strong game all the way through. He was making plays. He was forechecking well. He was winning battles. He was doing the little things. He obviously gets a big step up in minutes. I know he's been used a lot, but he got nearly 20 minutes tonight because Poehling's out. Took a lot of extra shifts. I thought he handled it really well, and it was really nice to see him get rewarded with that empty net goal at the end of the game. Third star of the game, Noah Cates.
Who is star number 2?
Star number 2 is Joel Farabee. Joel Farabee did exactly what I wanted to see from him coming off of those healthy scratches. He came out firing. He came out hard on pucks. He came out with the effort, but he also came out playing a skill game. It was, he's the guy who's trying to pick a fight to avenge his teammate, and that maybe is always going to be him. But he's also the guy who's setting up Sean Couturier for the goal that kickstarts the actual comeback. That's what I want to see from Joel Farabee. I don't want him to pigeonhole himself as a bottom sixer. I want him to use the skill that I know he has. Maybe this week-long break out of the lineup, it gave him a chance to kind of reset and remember that he does have this kind of talent. He was a top half of the first-round draft pick only a few years ago. Joel Farabee, great game, great comeback. I believe he got the belt from his teammates, rightfully so. Saw that on Twitter. Easy choice for second star.
Well, that only leaves the first star of the game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is Travis Konecny.
Nah, he took over.
This guy took over the game in the second period. He was incredible. Ends with 3 assists. Probably could have had 5. He was everywhere. The passing was incredible. He was winning battles. He was playing bigger than his size. And to do it all after getting that hit along the boards at the end of the first period where you didn't know if you were going to see him the rest of the game, for him to, do the classic Paul Kariya, off the mat.
Outstanding.
Like that was, obviously he wasn't concussed on the play. But point being
they don't
is
let
that
you do that anymore.
You thought that there was a good chance Konecny wasn't going to come back in the game. Not only does he come back, he then is the best flyer on the ice for the entire second period and set the tone for the proper response to that hit on Poehling. Travis Konecny, best player on the team, first star of the game.
All right, and with that, let's hit those super chats. All right, a whole bunch of them, and we're getting it's once again Vince not rounding it out, but leading it off with why not us. Listen, they played great tonight, and I'm not here to rain on anyone's parade. I will point out that the Islanders stink, but the Flyers aren't great either, and they showed some really good heart, some really good resilience tonight. Some good emotional intelligence to be able to rein it in and kind of focus it on not just trying to chase around a guy who may or may not have laid a dirty hit, but scoring goals, winning the game, taking it to a division opponent, and getting themselves, closer in the playoff race.
Hey, all I've said is that it's not that the Flyers need great goaltending to go on a potential run to a playoff spot. They just need competent goaltending, which is why I'm not grading the goaltending on a curve, Bill. I want competent goaltending. They at least got competent goaltending tonight. And if they get competent goaltending the rest of the way, they are going to make life difficult for the rest of the Eastern Conference bubble. I will say that.
I like that you're the one who's taking a hard and fast stance on something, and I'm just going like, I don't know what you want. I appreciate that.
I just want competence, Bill. That's all I want.
I know. It's just like...
And I'm pretty sure John Tortorella is right there with me.
Oh, I want a lot of things, though. That's the thing. I just don't know how realistic an ask that is. But so far, so good the last few
Dream
games.
big, William. Dream big.
It's 900 save percentage. He was 897 tonight. All right, that's all I'm asking for.
There we go.
Listen, all right, so this next one here from JH. Should the Flyers get 4 points for beating that Long Island trash and the BS refs? Many people are asking. We talked about this during the game, and I have been of the opinion forever. Let them get it out of their system. This is going to turn into an S show if you just don't let them go get their licks in on the dude that they're chasing. And the thing I have been told by officials through the years is there's no such thing as let them get it out of their system. That no, because then the other team's pissed, and now
they have to get it out of their system.
And now you just have an out of control game, and there's nothing you can do.
Then there's a response to the response to the response.
While I disagree with some of the calls that were made in this one, and some of the calls that were like missed.
Yeah.
In the direct aftermath.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the obvious slash on Travis Konecny leading to the Islanders' one first period goal. That was an egregious miss call.
And it leads to a goal. But the Farabee slash, I guess, that happens 100 times a game. If you call that, there'd never be 5-on-5.
But they were clearly
making a point.
They were making a point that don't start something. If you even touch him, you're going to the box. And to the officials' credit, it did. It stopped the Flyers from spending the rest of that period running around headhunting, which is exactly what they were trying to do.
And I think this spoke to, again, I mentioned how well I think this team is coached. Yeah, they took that Lawton penalty at the end, undisciplined, can't take that. But Torts never stopped giving it to the refs, and there was a clear, this is my job, you go out there and win the freaking game.
It's a fair point.
That is a clear, I have your back.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the thing. But you have to focus on winning this freaking game because this team sucks and we should beat them. And that's good coaching to me. So the referees, were they great tonight? But I do think, while I disagree with it, while it's frustrating, they did keep it under control. I'll give them that. I wanted to see it get out of control because I got to watch the thing. But it was an entertaining game even without a line brawl. Yeah. And that's fun. The Islanders weren't a terrible game to watch. That's a victory for the NHL as far as I'm concerned. All right, this next one from... what's that? Piffy 10. Everyone.
Sure. I think it's PHLY 10.
PHLY. I couldn't see. Okay, yeah, that's not two F's. It's an F and an L. PHLY 10. Everyone is getting extended, aren't they? I saw
you get a contract. Yeah. And you get a. No, they're not going to extend.
I mean, there are guys up for contracts, and some of them I really want to keep around. Do you want to see Noah Cates go? Because I don't.
I don't either.
Do you want to see Tyson Forster go?
Definitely not.
I mean, if you could trade him for if he's part of a package for a 1C, sure. But I don't see most of these guys not getting a contract. Now, I know people are frustrated. They give Nick Seeler a deal. They give Owen Tippett a deal. We go all the way back to Sanheim, and I still don't know if the thought process behind that contract was great. But now you look at it and go, it could have been a lot worse. We'll see. I don't think one game against the Islanders and this nice little run here against some competition is they did beat Florida. But I don't think this is Danny Briere gonna, I got to extend everybody. He has a plan. I know we don't all agree with it, but I don't think this means Morgan Frost, because he scored 4 goals in 5 games, is getting an 8-year deal. I don't think that's going to happen. So all right. Let's see. From Patrick, I hope Poehling is okay, but assuming he's going to be out, is it Tony Dick o'clock? Man, our
commenters really do love them some Tony Dick.
It's who doesn't love the TD? No, he was a lot of fun when he came up here, and he produced. He put points on the board, and that's really all you can ask from a guy who, he's a scorer in the AHL. What really is he in the NHL? I don't know if he could do it consistently, but for a call up to be able to give you a little bit of that offensive juice off the bench, especially early in the season when they could not score.
That is true.
It was TK can score, Matvei Michkov can score, everyone else has 3 points. That's kind of what they needed in a role player. I don't care if you never even crossed the defensive side of the red line. We needed someone who could put the puck in the net and put up some points, and he did. It was great, and I understand why people like him. That's a fun role player, considering most of the role players we've had. It's it's Taylor Lear. He's no good. It was a nice change of pace.
Chris Van de Velde.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace, especially for what we've had from role players and call-ups over the last 10 years. I get why people are fans. Hell, I'm a huge fan. The day they signed him, I started calling him Tony Dick, and then someone was like, "It's Richard, not Richard." I was like, "Don't care. He's Tony Dick."
Tony Dick in my heart.
Yeah. I had to look up. I wanted to call him Jacob Gaucher. Charlie was like, "I'm pretty sure it's Gaucher." All right, but I get why people want, and maybe he gets a shot. I wouldn't hate it. From Gary B. Where'd he go? There it is. Catesy playing 1C for this team. Always been a huge fan. I think contender. He's a solid 3C. Let's go Flyers. No, listen, like 3 years ago when he was the nominal 1C, I was like, yeah, all right, because we don't have anybody.
Yeah.
Right now, he's kind of in that role. Like, he's not.
He's earned it.
But he's playing well enough. Like, he's this team's best center. I think that's obvious at this point.
At least at the moment.
Like Charlie said earlier, we can dream about the lineup years from now, what he ends up being, but the versatility is huge, where you can put him all around, where he is kind of that Swiss Army knife in the model of a Scott Laughton.
I don't think he's in the model of Laughton, though, because it's not like Laughton is a guy where he's a Swiss Army knife because the coach knows that, well, in the middle of a game, I can move him up, I can move him down, he can play center, he can play both wing spots. Cates is more of, give him a role and let him play in that role. But the good thing is that suddenly if you don't have a space for that role, he could take another role and then play in that role for 2 months. Like that to me is, I would say he's less a Swiss Army knife and he's more flexible.
Flexible. That's a good way to put it. Like, yeah, Laughton is wherever. You know, we'll see.
Like he's a utility guy. I don't think of Noah Cates as being a utility guy. I just think of Noah Cates like, yeah, he could be a real good 3C for you.
He does a lot of things real well.
And if you have 4 centers that are better than him, then whatever. He can be a real good middle 6 wing for you.
Yeah, I think that is an interesting distinction. Like, you don't want Laughton in certain roles for extended periods of time.
Yes.
He's been put in them because, like,
who else was going to take
Flyers haven't had very many good players over the last few years. But Noah Cates is kind of set and forget, but there's different things he can do.
Right.
All right, that's an interesting distinction. I hadn't thought of it like that. All right, this next one here, another one from JH, it looks like. With multiple teams targeting our kids, how long until the team brings back a third or fourth line and a D-core that cracks some skulls?
Well, I mean, is Ryan Poehling one of the kids? And also, I mean, they have Nick Seeler, they have Garnet Hathaway. I don't know what else more you want. I mean, I guess in another world, Nick Deslauriers would be healthy, but he's injured. He's out.
Yeah. Something I was thinking about, and this was brought on by reading, again, Matty Campbell's piece on all PHLY about the Phantoms in the last couple days. You know who's been good lately? And they're saying it's got a lot to do with him finding some chemistry with Jacob Gaucher. Zayde Wisdom's been good lately. Just saying. Just saying, with D'Lo hurt.
Zayde's not the biggest guy.
No, he's not a huge guy. He's just a fiery.
No, he plays a physical, competitive game, and that's why if he ever does make it, he's going to be a fan favorite. But he's not a physically imposing guy, I would say.
I want someone who's going to run somebody every now and then. I think you got to do dirty stuff every now and then, you know? We'll leave it at that. I was going to make a joke, but we've done enough tonight. From Timbo Slice, why not us? TK making
don't
passes.
Encourage Vince.
TK making passes like a GD machine out there. Also, Frost 5-game point streak. They needed that Ducks game. This team is winning the whole damn thing. Win the whole effing thing. Now I'm just quoting the movie. The last two haven't even been Harry Doyle.
That's right. Timbo, I love the optimism.
I do. This is something I did want to bring up. That Ducks game is looking like, perhaps, at least for a little bit, a turning point of this season. They were trending poorly. It was going downhill. And then
Cutter came to town.
The fans saved the day. Yeah, thank you. Honestly, Cutter Gaucher, dude, more for this team than he probably ever would have done in the lineup.
Ouch.
Before we finish up tonight's show with these last few super chats, I just want to say we appreciate all of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. Very much appreciate all of you. But let's get back to these super chats. All right, another one from Gary B. No Gaucher. I want Tony Dick, Bill.
The people want Anthony Richard.
I know we want Anthony Richard, and I would never be opposed to having one of our most fun players to talk about in the lineup. But if it is a long-term thing, I think they would want to go with a center. That's all.
My thing is very much that I know people enjoy Anthony Richard in no small part because they enjoy the nickname that you have given him. So respect to you, Bill. But this is still a rebuild. Richard would be a more logical choice for a team that is like legitimately trying to win a cup because it's like, yeah, get the guy who would deliver the most value in a 5-6 game stretch. I think there is a degree of importance here on finding out what some of the kids are, especially the kids who are a little bit older but still qualify as kids. Lycksell, to me, if Poehling misses extended time, this is an opportunity for us to make some close to final judgments on whether Lycksell can actually hack it. And I would rather do that than get a few more Tony Dick jokes in.
Listen, Anthony Richard turned 28 about a month ago. You're trying to find, if nothing else, like, is Lycksell him? You know, can he be a guy who maybe isn't in the lineup nightly, but what if he's our 13th forward and he can have 6 points in the 7 games we throw him in there? Maybe we lose something on defense, but we at least are scoring a little bit. Like, find out about these guys. As much as I have to agree with Charlie, as much as it pains me. All right, let's get through these last couple here.
We got another Tony Dick supporter here.
From Via Negativa. Why in particular is Tony Dick not a potential contender for a spot in the lineup? He seems like he brings a lot of things we are in need of.
To be clear, I'm sure he's somebody they'll discuss.
He's in the mix.
And the point I made was that if you're losing Poehling for an extended period of time, maybe they think to themselves, we need speed. And Anthony Richard, out of all the options, is going to bring the most speed. Personally, I wouldn't do it, but he's certainly not out of the mix. He's an option. They like him.
As they should. He was good for them. I think there are better ways to use that ice time as much as I would like it. How many of these left are about Tony Dick?
I think we might be done with
How
Tony
many
Dick.
goals get scored in that second period, goes the full 75? That was funny. With like 17 minutes left in the second, all of a sudden they were about to drop the puck for an offensive zone faceoff, and they're like, clock says 75-40. We got to do something about that.
I know the Islanders like overtime games, but this is ridiculous.
Often Islanders games feel as if they're at least 75 minutes long, but they got that taken care of pretty quick. Let's see. From Pacenema, I refuse to make it a silent P. Can Bill wear the belt shirtless after wins? I have to go, unless we get like an extender for it, I have to go across. And honestly, we might get flagged for, we don't want that.
We don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
I feel like you two might not look friendly, kindly.
I don't have the Jason Kelsey chest hair to make it look manly. It's just like, dude.
Oh, Bill.
You were an athlete in high school? I don't believe it. Me neither, honestly. Let's see. Harry Houdini is back. Torts needs to throw sticks on the ice in the first. Torts did what he had to do. He took over the I'm going to complain to the refs and everyone else go out and play. Torts did a good job. I would always love to see Torts throw a tantrum. That's just good content.
I mean, I thought there was a chance that he might get himself thrown out of the game.
I
might
thought
go
there was
full Tampa.
There was a chance where he goes, "No, you're not dropping that puck. My team is coming to the bench until you come and address me." But the refs did. The refs took their beating, deserved or not. I don't know. I'm having a tough time like forming a real angry opinion about this hit. It was bad, definitely. I just like. I think it's a really fast game.
There's a part of you too, I think. I do too, but I don't think as much as you. You do love the physical element of the game, and you don't want to take big punishing hits out of the game.
I don't. Mike Richards lays that hit. I'm on Twitter going, you're all a bunch of sissies. Get over it, And like, it wasn't a great hit. There are definitely elements of it I don't love, but sometimes bad things happen. All right. Like if he gets fined, cool, great. Like it was predatory, as Charlie said. All right. From Timbo Slice, love you and all, Bill, Charlie, Kelly, not on stream tonight. Everyone behind the scenes and everyone in chat. Stay frosty, everybody. Absolutely. Listen, good frost means the team scores goals, so that's fun. From Obi-Wan is here. What's up, Obi-Wan? Good to see you.
Sure.
And then from Ava Graham, come home, go Flyers. Hi, Charlie. That's right. Ava has some beers in the fridge.
You've got that Cape May six-pack to drink tonight.
We got some Cape Mays to drink, so we're going to go and do that. Now that the super chats are wrapped up, just want to real quick say, go to allphly.com. Check out the Montreal trip. You're going to want to come on it. All right. This has been PHLY Flyers Postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We are off tomorrow, but we have an interview with Rachel Dory dropping, so make sure you're subscribed and following right here on our YouTube page so you can check that out. Talked about the Calder Trophy, talked about Four Nations, talked about all sorts of fun stuff, so make sure you check that out. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and check out the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Until Saturday, let's go Flyers. R.I.P. Bobby.
We all silly like the mayor.